Close your eyes and imagine the slow, glassy surface of the Nile under the fading light of the Egyptian sun. The air is warm, yet a soft evening breeze carries the faint scent of lotus flowers. In the distance, you hear the quiet slap of water against the wooden sides of a small boat and the distant bray of a donkey on the riverbank. This river has been here for thousands of years. Long before the modern world, before the hum of engines or the buzz of electricity, the Nile was the heart of a land that called itself Kemet, the Black Land, for the rich soil it left behind after its annual floods. Along these banks rose a civilization unlike any other, and at its center were the pharaohs, the living gods, the divine kings and queens of Egypt. They ruled with power beyond imagining. But they also lived under burdens that would break many of us today. They could command armies, build monuments that reach the sky, and hold the lives of thousands in their hands. Yet they could never truly be free. They could never live as ordinary people. Tonight, we will journey into their lives, slowly, gently, as though leafing through an ancient papyrus scroll. We will not rush. We will wander through palaces and tombs, through festivals and funerals, and see the beauty and the disturbing truth of being a pharaoh, born into the weight of a crown. Imagine a palace chamber, its walls painted with bright images of the gods. The air is heavy with incense, sweet myrrh, mixed with the sharper scent of frankincense. Attendants move quietly, their linen skirts brushing against the smooth stone floor. A child has just been born, and it is no ordinary child. This infant is a prince or perhaps a princess destined, by blood and by prophecy, to rule the land of Egypt. From the very moment of birth, this tiny human is set apart from all others. The midwives whisper prayers to Hathor, goddess of motherhood, while priests murmur blessings from Thoth, the god of wisdom, to grant the child a mind worthy of the throne. There will be no ordinary childhood here. This is not a life where you can cry without consequence, or stumble without watchful eyes upon you. Every gesture, every word will be seen as a sign of the ruler you will one day become. Even as a toddler, you are dressed not in simple cloth, but in fine linen, perhaps with a small piece of gold jewelry to mark your status. You are not merely a son or daughter. You are the embodiment of divine order on earth. You belong not just to your family, but to Egypt itself. And with that belonging comes a shadow, the knowledge that you will one day carry the weight of the crown. Childhood in the palace, a gilded cage. The palace is vast. Corridors lined with columns stretch on like endless stone forests. Pools of clear water glimmer in open courtyards, and servants carry trays of fruit, figs, dates, and pomegranates. It is beautiful, but for a royal child, it can also feel like a cage. You cannot wander the streets of Thebes or Memphis like other children. You will not splash in the river with the fishermen's sons or chase goats through the fields. Your playmates are chosen for you, the children of nobles, the sons of high priests, the daughters of generals. Your lessons begin early. A scribe teaches you to write in careful, delicate hieroglyphs, each symbol a sacred gift from Thoth. You learn mathematics, not for trade, but to count grain supplies, to measure the boundaries of land after the Nile's floods. You study history, not just to know the past, but to understand how to be remembered in the future. Every day, your tutors remind you, you are not like other children. You are the son or daughter of a god. The people must never see you trip, never hear you cry. To them, you must be perfect, even if you're still small enough to clutch a toy in your hand. The palace walls keep you safe, but they also keep you apart. The divine burden of kingship. When the crown finally rests upon your head, you become more than human in the eyes of your people. You are now the living Horus, the falcon god who soars above the land. You are the bridge between the gods and the world of men. This is not just politics. It is religion. If the Nile fails to flood and the crops die, it is not only the farmers who suffer. It is you who will be blamed for failing to keep Ma'at, the balance and harmony of a universe. If foreign enemies invade, if plague strikes, if the sky itself darkens with storms, the people will whisper that the gods are displeased with their pharaoh. Each morning begins with ceremony. You appear before the priests, who are bathed in sacred water before sunrise. Incense curls in the air as they chant your titles. Son of Ra, beloved of Ammonius, Lord of the Two Lands. You bow before statues of the gods, presenting offerings in a ritual that has been performed for centuries. But once the rituals end, the work begins. Petitions from nobles, reports from generals, disputes over land and grain, a constant river of decisions, each one shaping the fate of Egypt, and always the weight of knowing if you fail, the blame will be not just human, but divine. Court life, power and paranoia. The royal court glimmers like gold in the sun. You walk through grand halls with polished limestone floors, past towering columns painted in the colors of the Nile, deep blue, papyrus green, lotus white. The air is scented with burning myrrh, and the walls are alive with painted scenes of victories, festivals, and offerings to the gods. Everywhere there are people, noblemen in pleated linen skirts, officials carrying scrolls, generals wearing gold collars heavy enough to hurt the neck, musicians strum harps softly in the background. Servants move quietly, pouring wine or fanning the air to keep the heat away. It is a place of beauty, and yet, beneath the music and the perfume, you can feel the tension. Every smile could hide a plan. Every bow could conceal a blade. Here, loyalty is a performance. Allies may whisper praise in the morning and plot against you by nightfall. You cannot eat without a food taster. You cannot drink without a trusted servant checking your cup first. Even the guards posted outside your chamber door could be bribed. Some nights, you lie awake and hear the faint sound of footsteps in the hall. Are they just servants or someone creeping closer? And still you must smile. At banquets, you sit on a throne carved from ebony and inlaid with ivory, while dancers perform and guests feast on roasted goose, honey cakes, and imported wines. You laugh at jokes. You listen to flattery. But you never truly relax. Because in the court of the pharaoh, luxury and danger walk hand in hand. Marriage in the royal family. Marriage for a pharaoh is rarely about love. It is about alliances, bloodlines, and the balance of power. The great royal wife. The queen, maybe your sister, your half-sister, or a daughter of a noble family chosen to strengthen political ties. To the ancient Egyptians, marrying within the royal bloodline was not seen as strange. It was sacred, a way to preserve divine purity. The queen's role is not simply to be a companion. She is a mother of heirs, the hostess of festivals, the one who appears beside you in temple carvings. But the palace is rarely a home for only one wife. There may be secondary wives, foreign princesses sent as gifts of peace, and countless concubines. With so many rivalries under one roof, the air is often thick with jealousy. Servants whisper about who holds your favor. Children compete for your attention. Mothers scheme to have their son named heir. And if a queen falls from grace, perhaps accused of betrayal or conspiracy, the punishment could be exile or something far worse. Sealed in secrecy, behind the carved stone walls and painted ceilings, the royal family is no different from any other in one way. Love, jealousy, and ambition can tear it apart. The strange truth about luxury. To be pharaoh is to live among treasures most people could never dream of. Your bed is carved from rare wood brought from distant lands. Your clothing is the finest linen, so thin and soft almost floats in the air. You wear jewelry not for vanity, but as a symbol of divine power, broad collars of gold and turquoise, bracelets heavy with lapis lazuli, and crowns so dazzling they catch the light like fire. And yet, this wealth comes with its own discomforts. The crowns are heavy, pressing down on your head until your neck aches. The ceremonial robes are hot under the Egyptian sun, and their stiff pleats make movement difficult. Even your food, though rich and abundant, is not without danger. Bread is made from grain ground with stone, leaving tiny grit that wears down teeth. Honey sweetens desserts, but too much sugar damages your gums. Meat, without modern preservation, can spoil quickly in the heat. Parasites, stomach illnesses, and toothaches plague even the mightiest ruler. Luxury is dazzling, yes, but it does not protect you from pain. Religion and fear of the afterlife. No matter how high your throne, death waits for everyone. For a pharaoh, death is not an ending, but a test. The afterlife is everything. And to reach it, you must prepare from the moment you take the crown. You build temples to honor the gods, hoping they will favor you in the world beyond. You commission a tomb, grand, hidden, and filled with treasures, because you believe you will need these things in the next life. Your body must be preserved perfectly. The mummification process begins soon after death, but even in life, you know what it will involve. Organs carefully removed, the body dried with natron salt for weeks, wrapped in hundreds of yards of linen. You know that in the afterlife, your soul will stand before Osiris, god of the dead. Your heart will be weighed against a feather of Maat. If your heart is heavy with wrongdoing, it will be devoured, and your soul will vanish forever. This fear drives you to make offerings, to uphold rituals, to maintain balance in the kingdom. For even a god-king must answer to higher powers. War and the lonely camp. You are not only a ruler, you are a warrior. When Egypt's borders are threatened, you lead the army. You ride at the front in a chariot, bow in hand, the desert wind stinging your face. But war is not glory alone. It is dust, heat, and exhaustion. Days of marching under a burning sun. Nights spent in tents far from the comforts of the palace. The food is plain, bread, onions, beer, and the air is filled with the smell of sweat, leather, and horses. You see the wounded carried back from battle. Hear the cries of men who will never return home. You know that each decision you make sends others to live or die. And in the quiet of the night, when the campfire smoke drifts into the sky, you feel the loneliness of command. Even surrounded by soldiers, you are alone, because no one else carries the weight you do. Decline and death. Time spares no one, not even a pharaoh. As the years pass, your body begins to betray you. Old battle injuries ache. The heat feels heavier. You tire more easily. Perhaps you suffer from gout or arthritis, or the slow wearing down of teeth, until even eating becomes painful. Some pharaohs die young, taken by disease or treachery. Others live long enough to see their power weaken. Their enemies grow bolder, and their monuments left unfinished. When death comes, it arrives with ritual. Priests chant, servants prepare your body, and the next ruler is placed upon the throne almost at once. For Egypt must never be without a leader. You are laid in your tomb with treasures, food, clothing, even boats carved from wood, all meant to serve you in the afterlife. But the disturbing truth is this. Most tombs are robbed within decades. Your treasures stolen, your body sometimes disturbed, your name forgotten. The fragile immortality of a pharaoh. For all their power, pharaohs feared one thing above all, being forgotten. To erase a name from a monument was to destroy a soul. And so, they built to last forever. Pyramids rising against the desert sky. Temples covered in carvings. Statues so tall they could be seen from miles away. Some names endured. Ramses the Great, Akhenaten, Cleopatra. But many more have vanished. Their tombs collapsed, their monuments crumbled, their gods no longer worshipped. The lesson is clear. Even those called gods on earth were still human, bound to time. The Nile still flows, as it did in their day. The sun still rises over the desert. But the palaces are dust, and the voices of the pharaohs are silent. The Nile flows on. And so, the river moves on. It has carried the lives of farmers, priests, soldiers, and kings. It has witnessed feasts and famines, coronations and funerals. It remembers the laughter in the palace gardens and the whispered conspiracies in shadowed halls. It remembers the sound of chariot wheels and the soft rustle of linen robes in temple corridors. The pharaohs believed they would rule forever. But now, all that remains is their story. And tonight, as you drift asleep, the Nile carries it to you, slow, endless, and gentle, until you, too, are carried into dreams.